We the bestest, cast with the left twist, fat, fairly well dressed, put me on the guest list, yeah, on the guest list, yeah.
So for episode 1 of the co-write, of course we're doing a Foxtrot song. We're talking about Secondhand Sorrow today. We're at Spice House Sound here in Philadelphia with Alex Santilli and Eric Bogax, the men who produced, mixed, and mastered the record. And it's funny we're doing this song because Alex over here fervently believes this song's a piece of shit.
Well, you could have written a bridge that wasn't a horn solo.
This motherfucker makes me rewrite every song and add third, second choruses. He's a pain in the ass. But, gentlemen, thank you for being here today. I appreciate it. Funniest part about this song, actually, is we're going to go through the demo. But there's actually 2 versions recorded of this song. The first one, thank you, Dave Pettit.
Technically, there's 3.
There's 3?
Because remember, we redid it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. All right, so there's a merged version that wound up being the final version that is actually merged version. There are 2 different versions of the same fucking song recorded, and it came out pretty great. Fuck you, dude. I know you don't think it's good or whatever, but no, he loves it. But he did a great job on the master. Eric did a great job merging the 2 versions, and shout out to Dave Pettit for the original version. But I mean, to start out, this song was originally written in 2017. And it's funny because, like, when I wrote the song, it's really about, like, everyone around me seemed so sad. And I was just, like, a 25-year-old asshole being like, oh, everything's great in life. That's what secondhand sorrow means. Like, it sounds like a relationship thing, but it's really like, you guys are all depressed and shit. Fuck you. Like, turns out when I released the song post-COVID, I wasn't in the best place, I'd say. Like, it was, like, almost, like, weird that, like, the beginning of it was me, like, oh, you guys are all pussies. And then it actually wound out, like, dude, life's hard. Like, it's not all fucking sunshine and rainbows, but I think obviously the first thing you notice about this song is Erica, because the vocal take is incredible. It's actually from the first recording of it, but the original demo has my trashy vocals on it, and it's not good. But I think just to start out, we should play some of the song. So, Eric, can you pull up the song?
Yeah, from the top.
From the top.
Yeah! We doing this? I'm so tired of secondhand sorrow, and I'm too tired to beg and borrow, but I do it anyway, just to say I care.
So, right off the top, I remember when we were cutting this song, like, it was right after we had gotten out of our deal in Nashville, and we were like, we should do something more us, like a little more dynamic, a little more up and down. And I think right away, you know, like, it starts out with just punching you in the face, then goes to nothing, and then punches you in the face again. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's kind of become what we've done ever since then.
Yeah, it works well.
It works for us. It's what the Foxtrot sound has become. But, like, right off the bat, Erica's vocal take is ridiculous. Like, did you do anything specific to those vocals? Like, did you...
Like the coloration of it. Well,
yeah, like what?
They're super colored, and that's mostly.
What does that mean?
So
Lots of distortion.
It's mostly from this thing actually.
See, I don't know anything about
Yeah,
computers or production. I just write the songs.
So it's like you can hear it's like super fast compression on
Yeah.
it. You can hear it because like how like you can hear like the like as soon as like a word of consonant opens up, it goes like and they can hear like this like splat. And
Yeah.
then just railing it after the fact because this thing is like I think they started building these in 1968. I think this is like early 70s. But like it's just super. You can push it to be hyper aggressive and nothing really sounds like it. That's a good example of what that sort of compression is.
I remember when we were cutting these vocals the first time, and Dave made Erica do every word. It wasn't like a single take. It was like every
Really?
word needed to be enunciated perfectly.
I like that.
And the end of every phrase actually, we called them the Nicki Minaj vocals, where she's doing these weird kind of growly things going up. Like if you finish any of these phrases, it's like, big and barrel. Like it's very theatrical the way Dave made him do it. So whether or not we like that first version of the mix, like Dave was very good in like, and we got Sleepy Eyes Dave that night. Like just for like a reference, like we would work Dave to the point where he couldn't keep his fucking eyes open anymore. But no, I think the other part about this song that's interesting is the dynamics. But going to the second verse, and things pick back up, and it gets more and more Springsteen. It gets more and more E Street. Here it is. funny part is I don't remember ever doing those background oohs. I don't, but
That was actually Eric. No.
it probably wouldn't shock me.
I do that sometimes on people's stuff where I'll just like put in background vocals.
Well, I thought what was like interesting in that too is because like that part specifically, like that second verse was so much longer originally, and we cut it because this was one of those songs that I remember Jimmy, you, and Dave were all like, "Okay, this is too long. You don't need 4 fucking verses." Like, it's a 2.5 minute song. It's a very simple song, but more than anything, I love the elements that we kept in there from the original demo that we'll show later. But and then go to the bridge. I know Alex wants to talk about the bridge. This bridge was like, okay, we figured we were gonna do it big live, right? And we were like, let's do gang vocals. Let's do it as Bruce Springsteen as humanly possible, but with Erica and make it modern. Like this is like modern East Street punk. I don't know what the fuck to call it. Play.
All the way from the breakdown.
Yeah. That speaker. That speaker. That speaker. Notice what I said about Dave being really harsh on Erica's vocal. Like, every word was basically cut and pasted. But, like, the way she comes out of this, that last word, beg and borrow she does, like, listen to, like, she hated this. Remember when we did this, Erica fucking hated that we made her do these cartoonish vocals, and it actually wound up being something really cool. Play it over.
I was into that.
There it is.
I'm so tired of secondhand sorrow, and I'm too
Right
tired to beg and borrow, but I do it anyway.
And full diva. I love
Yeah,
that.
full diva. That was the point, though. I remember, like, because it's the way she like does that vocal growl is literally Nicki Minaj in the song "Monster" by Kanye West.
Yeah, it is kind of
I'm a motherfucking monster. We were like, dude, get as weird as humanly possible. So, what did we keep from the original recording, and what did we bring in from the second time we recorded it?
From the original one, it's mostly all the foundational aspects. It's the drums, the bass, some of those guitars.
Erica's
the
vocal.
The vocals, of
Yeah.
course. And then we brought in the piano. We brought in the layers of guitars that were more heavily distorted and kind of like thick and kind
Yeah.
of help with like the energy of the song.
I just remember the kick drum being the one thing that we fucking hated from the first take. The kick drum sounded so processed and so like pop that we were like, we need to. Because the second version we cut the big live drums and it sounded a little bit trashier, and we wanted to use those, but we couldn't stretch them.
Yeah, the drums. So it was because there were samples in there that were just a lot more forward, and I ended up just dialing back a little bit and bouncing it in there. So, but yeah, mostly the energy of the first take was just better than the second one. But the piano was cool.
Yeah, Shane doing the piano. Yeah. All right, so that's the final version of the song. That's the one that's been on the radio. That's the one that's been released on Spotify. But we got to talk about the original voice memo demos. This is straight from my iPhone. And when you listen to this, the structure is kind of similar. And I always like this when I like go through and do these voice memo demos. The band always says that I play the acoustic guitar. They're like, why do you do it that way? I'm basically trying to like match the cadence of what I think the drums are going to do. But I think there's one thing you're going to notice first right off the bat. I'm really glad Erica sang this song. So let's run the original voice memo demo real quick.
Demo.
Here we go.
I'm so tired of secondhand sorrow, and I'm too tired to beg and borrow, but I do it anyway, just to say I did.
The dynamics are there. The dynamics were there from the beginning, but I think this is really cool. When you play this, I'm kind of matching what I wanted to do vocally and like little accent pieces in the back. I'm trying to mimic it with the doon 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 with the guitar. It sounds like shit, but play it.
And where I just left off.
Yeah.
Beg and borrow, but I do it anyway, just to say I did. You, I can't remember why you're so sad, dear, that someone
of the song does not exist in the final version. I don't know. This was probably you yelling at me, telling me to write another hook part.
Yeah.
And there's this weird kind of like, I don't know, what the like Motownish kind of like a breakdown kind of a thing. Play this.
Cause I've been lost and lonesome like you.
It doesn't exist anymore.
Like you. And when I lost around, I ran back home for
A different song.
Turns
but
into
it's
like
cool.
a country song.
I don't know what it. I was picturing like girl group kind of like literally people in the back like. Because that is kind of the swing of the song in the end of the day. It does have this kind of like a shoulder shimmy kind of a thing. But like, I think what's interesting too, like going forward in this, like I remember this has always been a problem of mine. I write too much shit for a song that doesn't need it.
Right.
This beginning part of the second verse or whatever the fuck it is at this point doesn't exist in the real song.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of my favorite lyrics. It's it ain't easy to keep you standing on these glass mountains that you keep landing. I don't know why I don't know why I wrote that. I don't know why we picked that one to lead.
Yeah, let's throw that in another song.
Yeah, all right, yeah. Copyright, don't use it. It might be used.
If something else needs a bridge. Just
Play
throw
that real
in.
quick.
it ain't easy to keep you standing on these glass mountains that you keep landing. But I do my best just to say I did for you all this trouble.
This is where the band comes in for the song.
Giving ain't worth the sad songs that you keep singing.
Even in the because there is the bridge section here is already sectioned out, and I remember like I never wanted a vocal bridge, which I know you're mad about it. I know.
Yeah.
But like you can even see, I don't know if there's stop ups here. Mom Duke's calling me. I don't know if there's the stop ups here that come in, but can you play from the bridge real quick?
And the real version?
No, this version.
Okay, I think this is the bridge coming up.
Oh, well, I did have the idea to stop. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Doogie. But we didn't know what was gonna be here.
I'm so tired of
That's not bad.
You shortened it by
Yeah.
No, I just think it's funny because generally I'll look back at these voice memo demos and they're nothing like what the song wound up being. This was on, I remember, June 25th, 2017 was this version of the song. It was released, I think, March 8th, 2022.
Only took 5 years.
It only took 5 years. But this was a song that we felt so strongly about because of Erica's vocal take that we were like, we can't waste this song. So we'd be putting music out, and we always played this live.
Yeah.
We did this at a fucking stadium with Bon Jovi. Like, the song was out there. People would always be like, when is Secondhand coming out? And I'm like, whenever we make it sound good enough. Like, it was one of those songs you don't want to waste.
It's probably one of your best live songs, if not.
Well, that's the whole point of the bridge was making a live song.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, but like to watch the process of like the acoustic demo, shitty in my living room. There's actually another version where it was a better take, but my dog was barking in the background. So there's a version that Vinny is just barking in the background. But I think it's like important to show this kind of stuff because I don't know, people expect perfection all the time when they, no. Most musicians have 18,000 voice memos on their phone with great ideas that don't ever turn to anything. This just happened to turn into a song that we really love. What was your process of mixing this? Or like, what kind of tones did you use a lot of the room or what was the final mix idea?
It's really, I mean, the general idea I was going for was to get just a whole ton of energy in it.
Yeah.
And so and that means like translating to both brightness, but also kind of like driving aspects to it. So, like usual, I just use a lot of distortion.
Yeah, that is you, dude.
That's the vibe.
That's the vibe.
That's what Foxtrot needs. We need thickness, we need distortion, we need energy.
We've always needed thickness. Thickness has never been an issue for Foxtrot. And then from the mastering side, like, Because I said this to you, your masters usually suck. What did you do differently to this one?
This one I just
Paid
drove it
someone
really
Yeah.
hard. What's that?
I say paid someone else to do it.
This master, I drove this one really hard. It has lots of energy. It was a little lacking in the bass, so I used a sidechain filter and a heavy, fast Varimu compressor to add a bunch of distortion and bring that low end forward and make it thick.
Yeah.
So it was a big difference, right?
We have, one of our gripes with the original recording and the original mix that we got back was the fact that the low end didn't exist. Like the kick drum was very thick, but the bass wasn't there.
Can't remember the bass at all, yeah.
No, and Ken's bass part is great in that song. But I don't know. I think it's just funny to like look and see how a song changes. Like, obviously, first thing that jumps out is Erica singing.
Yeah.
Because
She's the star of this song.
she's a star. She's a fucking superstar.
She's probably the star of Foxtrot.
Yeah, probably. Like, I have no problem sitting here and admitting that. Like, she has a God-given talent. But it's like, I just thought it was funny to, like, one, from the songwriting perspective, see how my attitude had changed over the 5 years from when I wrote it to when we released it. But more than anything, to see the parts that we cut out, the little things that we changed, and the fact that this song was such a journey to recording it once, hating it, recording it twice, hating that, and then saying, okay, just Frankenstein the two motherfuckers together and see what comes out. Like, it really is a cool song, and I'm thankful that you guys did what you did on it.
Well, this is a good one, so we had to do a good job.
Right, yeah. For once, Eric and Alex did a good job. But, okay, so that is behind-the-scenes breakdown from demo to final version of Secondhand Sorrow by the one, the only, Foxtrot and the Get Down.